I did not see this coming. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and I want to bring you up to speed on my adventures as a contract employee. You might remember that the contract that I was on was up for recompete, and the company I worked for did not win the contract. So we've been going through something of a transition. The big news is I have not been invited to stay on. That's not exactly true. They did offer me the program manager's job, but while I acknowledge that that's an important job, it just doesn't leverage my unique set of skills. So, as my wife keeps telling me, I am unemployed. But there were a couple of interesting things that were new experiences for me. I guess the first thing is that the hiring process was fundamentally different than anything I've ever experienced before. For the employees working on the contract, it's not like we got interviewed for our positions. The hiring folks seemed to know a lot about us. Maybe not all of it true. And since those employees who'd been working on the contract knew a lot about the specifics of the job, maybe even more than the incoming company, there was this strange asymmetry of information. The second unexpected experience kind of flows from that unusual hiring experience, and that has to do with how people on the contract found out whether or not they were going to be hired. I mean, if you're hired, you get an offer letter and onboarding instructions and yada, yada, yada. But if you're not being hired, don't expect anybody to tell you. It's a little bit like how companies will interview candidates, but then never actually send rejection notices. The weird thing about it is, you're like, I'm working, should I be handing over my responsibilities? Should I be cleaning out my desk? Did the government tell the company not to hire me? And then the government keeps asking me what's going on, but I don't know. Meanwhile, some, but not all of your coworkers, they're getting picked up and getting offer letters. It's very strange. The third thing that caught me by surprise were the emotions that came with this transition. I mean, on an intellectual level, not getting hired is probably in my best interest. But on some deep-seated level, the whole experience made me feel angry. And no matter what people did, no matter how well-intentioned they were, it just seemed to make me angrier. Probably means I get too much of my sense of identity from work. Oh, and I was not alone in this. Even people who got good offers, they experienced intense anxiety. Walls got punched and tears were shed. The one common experience that seemed to grab just about everybody was sleepless nights. You know, waking up at 2 a.m. and just knowing that your brain was not going to let you go back to sleep. So, transition wasn't really fun. But I do believe that it was the gateway into some pretty new and cool adventures. In fact, I'm getting ready to do a video where I actually explain why I think this arc of going through transitions assistance and then some terminal leave and then working for a contracting company and then being freed to pursue other options, why that might be the recommended course of action.